Greetings from Hopalong Hollow. This is Jerry, and I'm going to do a quick video, just a morning coffee walkabout to see what's going on in the spring garden. And I want to warn you right away, there's a lot of debris and garbage in the garden, and it doesn't look very good. I have a lot of cleanup work to do. This is a strip along one side of the house that's got a lot of shade, and a lot of things are going on here. In this strip, we planted some oriental poppies and 5 rolled dolls, roses, David Austin roses all along this strip, and I just want to come and check to see how everyone's doing. I always notice along the way that I have little tulips cropping up here and there that I planted years and years ago that I never expected to return, and there'll just be a little patch of tulips here, a little patch of tulips there amongst the daffodils, and they're very cheerful little things, and unexpected, because I never expect the daffodils or the tulips to return. We always have these beautiful little violets growing, wonderful ground cover that you don't ever even have to try to grow. It just does it on its own. This is one of my favorite little spring flowers. This is Virginia Bluebell, my favorite bluebell of all. Got a little rose growing right there next to it, one of the bare root roses I planted. A little shaded right now, but this flower doesn't last long. So I really wanted to film it while I could, because the colors in it are just so stunning. The beautiful pale blues to purples to violets. Such a pretty, pretty flower. Spring is the color of blue and lavender and violet. Let's see what else we can find in here. To the front yard garden, which is pretty much being taken over by ivy. Only here, the only place I want it is here on the fence, because that is what it's meant to be, a fence, a border. And inside, all kinds of spring color, wild roses, little spots of tulips here and there, and I could see the peonies popping up. The bad and the ugly around here, so this is some of the ugly. This is a tree that we felled last year. That was a dying mulberry tree. And we left all the debris right here, just for about a year. And so now it's just a tangled mess of who knows what. And I really got to take care of this garden. But what I really love is that I discovered, to my surprise, that I have a hellebore here that I didn't even remember planting. The only one that's here. One of my geese, Lydia. She is Lydia the Tattooed Lady, and she is making a nest back here in this wild shade garden amongst the rambling rose back there. Another little patch of tulips. You know, I often say I don't really like to plant tulips except in pots anymore because they don't return, they're not perennial. But in the case of some of these tulips, they have been coming back, for some of them, 14 years. They get a little bit sparser year after year after year, but this little grouping by the front sidewalk looks pretty nice. This little patch of beauties here in this garden. I planted these 3 years ago, and they are still returning. So that is always a surprise to me when I see returning tulips. But what beautiful little colors they are in the beginning of this front yard garden. Things are still pretty short for the most part, but I'm expecting great things from this garden this year because I did so much work in this section. And right now it just looks like a bunch of short shrubbery and little plants, but a lot of peonies in here, and irises and sedums and daylilies and phloxes, penstemons, and oh my goodness, who knows what else. I just end up being surprised. Look at this wonderful old fireplace grate that I got from my friend Nancy. Isn't this superb for a planter? I haven't decided what to do in it yet, but I thought a couple of little pots of English daisies would be really pretty in here. Oh, the possibilities are endless. I don't really want to cover up that ornate background, so I'm thinking about this. But behind that are some tulips that were planted this year in pots. Really short tulips. I don't know about that. This is the frog pond garden right here along the front walkway, and here we have returning roses that were planted in the fall. And one is they're yellow, Rise and Shine. Oh no, they're yellow and pink. This is a Rise and Shine, and then there's a pink drift rose. And for the backdrop, there is a Roald Dahl, bare root rose, look at that. See that life coming into it? And then over there in the corner are two lady eschalots along the back. We'll film those more and more as the year goes by just to see how they grow and do in the garden. And my last lavender, I killed all 4 of them last year. All 4 of them except for this one. I hope this one makes it. It's a beautiful little blue muscari as opposed to the purple muscari. And I think that's a lovely shade of heavenly blue. This goes right down one of the garden beds in the potager. Very sweet. Here is a row of daffodils, but only the ones in the front so far have bloomed, which is really rather strange, I think. I wonder why. You never know about these flowers. Sometimes they're so finicky. There are clusters of daffodils and spring bulbs just scattered throughout all the gardens, here and there in little islands of color. And here is the rose, one of the roses I planted in August, and she's looking dandy. So you can see here in the colonial herb garden that I have a lot of cleanup to do. It's time to replace the fence again. I do that every year. And then, but look at all the lovely things that are coming up. As soon as I clear this debris off the ground, it'll look pretty nice in here. Meadow sage, catmint, obedience plant, Joe Pye in the corner. Here's some yarrow. There's a dead rosemary plant. Oh, that rosemary gives me a pain sometimes. And here in the center of the garden, I planted one of the bare root roses. And wow, here it comes. This is called Grace. And she's putting out her lovely little leaves already. And all around her are tiny little nasturtium seeds popping up. Little seedlings. I love those. They look like little water lily leaves. I love those. This rose is called Old Blush, and I have 3 plants that I have to put in to climb a pergola. This is supposed to be a very vigorous climber, and it's a very old rose. And one more minute. Wow, look at this. Do you go around counting your plants? I go around counting my plants and see how many are coming up. So here I see these 3 garden sages that I transplanted last year. Looking pretty short, but I think they'll be fine. And all around them are the clary sage planted from seeds. It looks like I dropped a whole packet here by accident. I think I did. As I recall, I did. And more roses starting to look like they're going to have a very good season. So, for now in Hopalong Hollow, let's say goodbye, and I'm going to do more of these short videos just to fill in between the times when I can't do a 30 or 40 minute video. So I hope that you would enjoy this. Just let me know in the comments if this is something you'd like to see about once a week, just a short update video, garden update video. Here goes Titus. Hi, Ty. He caught his first mouse yesterday.